Hi, thanks for joining us for this CBS 6 special presentation of Powering Virginia. I'm Jessica Null.
Hi there, I'm Greg McQuaid. You know, Virginia is rich in environmental opportunities, so we're trying to find a balance between using those natural resources and how we live.
Taking a few easy steps not only saves resources, but money too. We'll look at urban gardening in the River City.
And sustainable building already happening right here. And we're exploring how the Hokies are changing the track for motorcycles.
We start with a bit of sun and wind and seeing how they're taking their place on the power grid.
Our Commonwealth is on the grow, and with an economy expected to surge at 30% in the next 10 years, Virginia will demand adequate power. Dominion CEO Paul Kuntz.
We need to make investment so that there's ample electricity and infrastructure so that businesses continue to come to Virginia and add jobs. And really that's our mission, is to provide the adequate infrastructure so that any business that's considering coming to Virginia will know that there's electrical infrastructure in place to meet that need.
But it's a delicate balance because our Commonwealth must also meet the federal goal of reducing consumption by 10% by 2022. So how do you pull back the reins while also rising to the occasion?
What powers Virginia today is a diverse mix of fuel types as well as a diverse mix of generating types. We have about a third of our energy that comes from nuclear generation, which obviously has zero air emissions. About a third of our energy comes from about a dozen different coal plants. And then about a third comes from a combination of natural gas-fired generation and various renewables. We are also looking at some very innovative technology. There are now meters that you install at the home, which for the first time can enable two-way communication.
Dominion Virginia Power's smart grid technology, already in the testing phase in Charlottesville and Richmond, may contribute to an overall reduction of power by the 2022 deadline equivalent to one full power plant.
We believe it has great promise, but we want to test it. So we have three demonstration sites, one here in Richmond, and then last August we announced our Charlottesville Smart Grid initiative, where we have installed about 50,000 of these meters. But we're also educating our customers in terms of what their residential consumption is versus their neighbors. That's been very well received. Folks are very curious to know what their consumption is like versus sort of a typical neighborhood average. We're also investing in wind. We think that it is an important resource, especially with the Appalachian Mountain Range just to our west.
Dominion plans to begin construction on a solar panel plant and already taps into wind-powered energy.
So what we're looking at is a very pragmatic approach of installing clean, conventional technology, be it coal, natural gas, perhaps even a new nuclear facility, but we'll do that in tandem with our renewable investments.
Up next, it's more than a garden.
Yeah, find out how this once vacant lot is now producing a healthy amount of green and employment. Welcome back to Powering Virginia. I'm Greg McQuaid along with Jessica Null. For fun and for relaxation.
For fresh food and an economic boost too, get ready to get those hands dirty.
Urban agriculture, community gardening, urban ecology. No matter what you call it, the trend is growing. But as with most things, everything old is new again.
It's not the first time in America that this stuff has happened. This is actually the fourth wave of urban agriculture in America. And we see it solving many contemporary issues.
But can a humble garden tackle issues like climate change, hunger, health, and fighting obesity? Lisa Taranto, director of Tricycle Gardens at 9th and Bainbridge Streets in Richmond, recognizes a community garden is an undertaking.
It takes a certain amount of insanity and persistence to make something like this happen. And this year alone, we've had probably over 1,500 volunteer hours to get this thing up and running.
Horticulturalist Allison Mesnard agrees.
For 40 years, this has been a vacant lot. So it's fun to have it be something beautiful.
She also sees how engaging it is and how the investment pays off.
It's very labor intensive, but it kind of grows on you, grows on you. It's sort of an addictive. You get really passionate about it, and even though it's hot and sweaty, it's really, you get your workout and you get food too.
By restoring and rebuilding an ecology and make it a lot of biodiversity, we get healthy food out of it. And so you take an empty lot, you get a renewed ecology, and you get food, and you get this amazing sense of community from everything that's happening around it.
Tricycle Gardens started nearly a decade ago as 3 architects living in Church Hill planted what was then the city's first community garden. Their goal, improving the health of their community and the environment. That initial garden has grown today into 4 community gardens, 3 learning centers, a greenhouse, and now an urban farm. While establishing Tricycle Gardens at the 9th and Bainbridge lot in Richmond's Manchester area has been a big investment in volunteer hours and money, that won't always be the case.
We're working towards setting up a system which really takes care of itself, and each year there'll be less work and more food.
So our goal eventually is to become self-sustaining with our composting operation, where we're composting and then adding that back into the soil, and we're getting the materials for composting from local restaurants, so coffee grounds, beer mash from the Legends Brewery, and things like that.
Not only are veggies part of the bounty, job opportunities have taken root as well.
And so this year we've hired 1 person from the neighborhood, and next year we hope to hire 2 or 3 people. So we're providing jobs as well by selling the food. It's nice because it's gone from people telling me that I'm crazy and saying that it's really cute to really having a significant impact, and potentially this could, if we can really get a groundswell around this, there's plenty of vacant lots, and there's plenty of people that need jobs, and there's plenty of people that need foods.
And the idea of supporting community gardening is within reach for folks who aren't keen gardeners. Lemaire at the Jefferson Hotel started its own backyard garden last year and enjoys delivering its 2nd season of farm to table.
When somebody's been down in the garden, picked fresh rosemary or fresh basil or something, you can smell them walking into the kitchen with a bin full of fresh herbs, and it just makes you feel great, makes you want to come up with something to really highlight those things.
Lemaire's urban garden is tucked in next to a parking lot, but once inside the garden, chefs have their pick of fresh herbs and vegetables.
We use fresh herbs from our garden as the garnish for the cocktails, and people are definitely surprised that, wow, this lemon verbena came from the garden outside.
Sous chef Brian McClure says having these fresh resources on hand helps keep prices affordable for restaurant goers too. Plus, it's great being part of the effort.
The more sustainable, the better. The less that we have to ship from far away, the more green it is for me, the better.
Up next, no one said it was going to be cheap.
We'll find out how an upfront investment will pay you back. We'll see how a traditional Richmond home evolved into the new kid on the block. What's old is new again, but with a unique twist. A home in the city of Richmond gets more than just a new coat of paint.
Yeah, developers have taken a new approach to a 72-year-old home with a green state of mind. Nestled between Monument and Broad, at 4600 Augusta Avenue, you'll find a small, revolutionary brick home. No, not that type of revolution. Richard, how special is this house for you?
This is very special in many ways. On a personal level, it means a new career for me in building greenhouses.
Developer Richard Cross is making a statement with this 72-year-old house, a building that is green top to bottom and inside out.
Nothing about this house is ordinary.
From the slate roof, which is actually made from recycled tires, to a gutter system that collects water for flushing, Cross promised to use the highest level of green building design during this ultimate green renovation.
And we're the only house in the city of Richmond that has permission to flush our toilets and water our grass with rainwater.
Speaking of water, a geothermal system with 3,000 feet of piping circulates water underground, using the Earth's natural temperatures to keep the house warm in the winter and cool during the searing summers.
This is a very healthy house, very low maintenance house, but also for the environment.
While renovating the 1938 structure and building an addition which more than doubled the size of the home, Cross thought of the environment during each day of construction.
This has been a 2-year project from the time we identified the property to acquiring the property and then designing the house and actually getting it built has been 2 years start to finish.
It seemed like we were pushing into uncharted territory, building a greenhouse in Richmond.
The color green must run through the veins in the Cross family. The architect on this project is Michael Cross, Richard's son.
We had to show that green architecture can look the same as traditional architecture.
Traditional architecture with non-traditional amenities, from durable bamboo floors to recycled glass-top counters and a recycled tile bathroom with an energy-saving instant hot water system. Oh, and did we mention the home comes with drought-tolerant, low-maintenance landscaping?
The mission of the house was to show the accessibility of green building for the average homeowner.
At $464,500, the price of this unique home is above average for the neighborhood. But the developers say this home is not only green, you'll save green in the long run.
Yes, it is initially a little more expensive, but this house starts paying you back about $600 a month.
This has been a great opportunity to show my personal belief that green building is not just one specialty of building, but is the new normal.
4600 Augusta Avenue, a 72-year-old home now with a longer and greener life expectancy. A home owners and a builder can be proud of.
It's been so much of a learning thing and also just throwing yourself in and embracing the movement of the times.
Making a loop around the track is bringing a cleaner, more powerful zip.
Up next, we head to Southwest Virginia for a look at how 2 wheels are changing the future of 4. It's a race to find the power of horses in electric power.
Coming up, you'll see how these electric motors are speeding to a new level far above gas-powered engines. The noise, the pollution, the smell. Welcome to another day on America's highways. For motorsports, the racetrack is a laboratory for research and development of the next big thing in the world of transportation. On a recent visit to Virginia International Raceway, imagine our surprise at what we saw when the track fell silent.
And I was just looking to build a custom bike, a cafe racer with some sort of motor that hadn't been used. So we selected an electric motor, and for it to be a true cafe racer, it has to do the ton. It has to go over 100, and on the straightaways, our bike will do about 120 plus.
Brian Richardson from Highland County built this racer with the help of some corporate sponsorship as well as Virginia Tech.
What I'm excited about was to build a vehicle that truly performed. This bike will scare me a little bit, and I've been riding bikes my whole life. I've never raced, but it's an exciting bike to ride, and that's what I wanted to build, was an electric vehicle that was exciting to ride.
These vehicles are more like laptops. They're probably more familiar to what Intel or Motorola will see than anything that Honda or anybody else will see. They are literally, you should picture these things as a laptop with a saddle and 2 wheels. That's what it is. This is how we make laptops go racing.
Azhar Hussain started TTXGP in 2009, a racing series solely for electric-powered motorcycles. This year, TTXGP has 13 events in 5 different countries.
Well, motorsports is really R&D on steroids. I mean, it's a round-by-round proving of pushing the technology of what works and what doesn't. It's evolution on fast forward. Motorsports is a great way, when it's done properly, a great way of igniting a new technology and driving that forward. So what TTXGP is doing now is creating a platform for innovators. I mean, here we've got something like 30 teams in our championship. That's 30 different ideas of doing things.
There is a learning curve that people have gone through, and we're going through all these great learning curves here at these racetracks to always improve both the technology and the bikes to make them go faster and faster.
Martin Kobler owns Super Lattice Incorporated, a company on the leading edge of battery technology.
And then since the last 5 years, drastically, there's been huge improvements with producing lots of current with the same amount of weight of the batteries.
So the bike basically has three components. It's got a battery box that slides into the chassis, it's got an electric motor, and it has a controller that's the brains. And in some ways, it's really just that simple.
Still, the biggest challenge for electric vehicles is battery life.
We've also made substantial improvements with the life of the battery itself. Right now there's some automotive programs in place, and they're trying to guarantee the battery packs to design for 10 years of life or 100,000 equivalent of miles.
Probably get about 80 miles to a charge, 125 miles an hour, 0 to 125 in one gear. There's no gear change, no clutch.
So, the question remains, are electric vehicles the future of moving America?
These teams are here putting their time, money, energy, effort, these and other teams around the world, and we have a growing field next year. That's a reflection of a much larger movement.
I truly believe we can make a statement saying we can definitely be less dependent on foreign oil and use alternative technology that we can actually make and build in the United States.
So whether anybody likes it or not, this is coming. It's like a Control-Alt-Delete, right? And this is that moment. We're just rebooting. And when the thing comes alive again, there's going to be a new range of players.
Thanks so much for joining us on this CBS 6 presentation, Powering Virginia.
For more information on everything we've covered, visit WTVR.com/green.